Good morning, everyone. How you guys doing? I feel like I'm not doing too great right now because I let myself have an extra beer last night, and also because Ellis and I lost in beer pong. But I'm telling myself I'm energetic and I feel good right now, and that's kind of making me feel a little better. And also, after the merry hour the next morning, this stream is probably the thing that gets me to snap out of it the quickest. So I am happy to be here with all of you guys. I was spying on the live chat before I actually clicked the go live button, and I want to revisit some stuff that was going on at the beginning. We've got a first timer here, the next big rap star 92. Welcome to the show. I'm glad you found it. We also had a question here from Justin Thomas. Did Perri move back to Long Island permanently? Justin, no, I didn't, but I am going to stay here until, I guess, two factors here. I'm going to stay on Long Island with my family until, one, it's either safe to go back to Los Angeles, because I don't want to risk anything for no good reason, if you know what I mean, and I guess until there is a work-related reason that requires me to physically be there, why would I risk flying back, especially, when I'm lucky enough to be able to spend this time with my family? So not permanently on Long Island, but semi-permanently, temporarily. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I'll keep you guys posted as I figure out my travel plans. What else do we got going on here? Welcome back, Ed. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're doing well, friends. Christy, good morning, Christy. We've already been gifting back and forth this morning. I'm glad you're awake, and I'm glad the bagel did the trick. It always works for me. All right. Steven is here. Steve is here. Neil is here. Oh, man. You guys are the best. Thank you for spending your Saturday morning or early afternoon with me. Let's talk about some movie stuff here. So one of the things that caught my eye this week, as far as new material goes, is the Possessor trailer, because that's a movie that debuted back at Sundance earlier this year in January, and it's a movie I really wanted to cover. But the way things usually work for me at Sundance is we get the opportunity to do interviews for so many movies that are premiering at the festival, but the ones I focus on are the ones that I get assigned, and Possessor wasn't one that I got assigned, so I didn't have time to go see it, but I just heard some batshit crazy things about that movie. I'm also a huge fan of Andrea Riseborough and Christopher Abbott. I think that they're both really exceptional actors, but one of the things that excites me about them the most is I know whenever I see a movie that they picked, it's always going to be interesting or unique, or it's just going to stand out from every other movie we see. So I always trust their judgment when it comes to picking roles. And this movie also just sounds fascinating, and it looks pretty fascinating too. So Andrea Riseborough's character in the movie is an assassin, and the way she does her job is through brain implant technology, where she takes control of other people's bodies in order to, execute her targets. And in the case of Possessor, she's taking over the body of Christopher Abbott's character. So that just sounds absolutely fascinating. Another good thing about this movie, in my mind at least, is that Neon is involved. Whenever Neon releases a movie, that's always going to pique my interest even more. And this trailer, I think the trailer looks great. I'm dying to see it. And one of the unfortunate things about this trailer announcement is that it doesn't come with a specific release date, so we don't know when we're actually going to get to see the full feature. But the fact that they're releasing a trailer now does make me think that we're going to see Possessor in the near future. And man, I can't wait. I guess, if I got to wait a little while longer, it does give me time to see director Brandon Cronenberg's last movie. I haven't seen Antiviral. If any of you in the chat have, and you have thoughts about that, please let me know what you think. Ooh, Ian, have you seen Possessor in full? Did it play at Fantastic Fest? I'm so curious. Chime in with more thoughts if you've got them. All right. What else is going? Oh, someone actually had the same question, Ian. So if you have seen it, do let me know. Before I move on to another topic, actually, you know what? Let's just move on to another topic because I see you have a question about it right here. Michael Miranda wants to know any reaction about the Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans Netflix biggest film budget, $200 million, The Gray Man, directed by the Russo brothers. Yes, I have thoughts on this. And that is going to lead us into the title topic of this episode here. Hey, Dewey, we got a friend here. Dewey's here. You guys can't really see him. I feel like I need to get like a better perch situation so that when he wants to be involved in the videos, you guys could actually see him. But let's talk about The Gray Man right now. So when the news broke about this new project, it was mostly with the headline that this is Netflix's biggest budgeted movie, with a reported budget, according to Deadline, that is apparently over $200 million, which is, oh man, that's a significant amount of money. So it's the next movie from the Russo brothers, and they have Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans starring in the movie. That's a great package right there. It is a movie that's an adaptation of a 2009 novel, and what it's gonna be is Ryan Gosling's character is a former CIA agent who becomes a freelance assassin, and he's known as the Gray Man, so that's where the title comes from. And what's happening in the movie is that he's being hunted by his former, I guess, a partner. I don't know what the right descriptor is there, a former CIA partner, and that one is Chris Evans's character. So it's basically Chris Evans hunting Ryan Gosling, and the hope is for this is that The Gray Man sparks a franchise opportunity for Netflix. So it's an interesting scenario, mainly because you guys know how obsessed I am with box office numbers, and usually I can use box office isn't the be all end all. There's so many different factors when it comes into deciding whether or not a film is worthy of a franchise, and you know what's financially viable. And when it comes to something like Netflix or any streaming service for that matter, we just don't have that same kind of data to work with. And when it comes to the title topic of this live episode, sorry, I'm shaking the desk, but Dewey's head is on it. And every time I move, that's what's happening here. When we look at something like the top 10 most popular movies on Netflix, that's information being released by Netflix. Whereas when we're talking about box office numbers, those are numbers being reported by not necessarily, let's say, Disney for a Disney movie. Of course, they always give you estimates, but, you know, even those estimates, especially as we're leading up to a movie's release, you know, you could be in a situation where a studio is going to give you a lower estimate. So when a higher number comes in, we're all like, oh my God, it exceeded expectations. So you just got to take this information, I guess, with a grain of salt in a sense. So when it comes to something like The Gray Man and spending such a significant amount of money on the project, it's really difficult to, you know, fully wrap my brain around whether or not that $200 million is a smart investment for something like Netflix, especially when we're in such uncertain times right now. I mean, Netflix is probably doing pretty damn well right now, with most people staying at home, and also with the box office kind of out of the equation entirely. So given the movies that are on Netflix's, as released by Netflix, their 10 most popular films, it would make sense for them to put a lot of money behind a movie that involves the Russo brothers, Ryan Gosling, and Chris Evans in an action movie. It definitely makes sense. But I do want to point out something that was mentioned in Jeff Snyder's Collider.com article about this. And he is saying that this movie, The Gray Man, is going to be the movie with the biggest budget that Netflix ever greenlit. And he points out that when they greenlit The Irishman, they agreed to a budget of $180 million. But there are reports out there claiming that that price tag skyrocketed to something more like $250 million. So technically that would be the most expensive Netflix movie. But, you know, it is what it is. I feel like my mind, like, things just start to blur when you have a price tag just that insanely high. I can't believe how much some of these movies are costing. It's crazy. But anyway, the title topic of this episode here, the 10 most popular Netflix movies, because we have an alteration to this list now, and that is courtesy of the release of the Old Guard. So again, I'm just going to re-emphasize here that this is a list that Netflix has put out here. So in a sense, it's partly a marketing tool here. You know, when they make that announcement, it's because they want their name and these titles in the press. That's what's going on. But this list does excite me for a couple of reasons. One being the new addition to the list. You guys know, if you saw my review, I'm a big fan of The Old Guard. I really, really loved that movie. I think it's a great comic book adaptation that involves characters with a superpower, but it puts character development before its super cool high concept. And I think that's why the movie made such a strong impression on me. And also, Charlize Theron, I think, was perfect in that role. Another thing that I saw in the chat earlier before I even went live was someone had mentioned how good Matthias Schoenaerts is. And I cannot re-emphasize that comment enough. He's great in everything. I feel like he's one of those actors that even when he's in a movie that might not be your favorite movie in the world, he is always operating at peak performance. But just because this gives me an excuse to mention The Mustang again, if you have not seen his performance in The Mustang, please go find that movie, because that was one of those releases from last year that I understand why it wasn't in the Oscar conversation. It had a release date that was very early on in the year. It was a smaller release. It had a lot working against it, but I truly do believe that even with the crop of films that we got over the entirety of 2019, he deserved a Best Actor nomination for what he did in that movie. So please do search for The Mustang if you haven't seen the film. But let's take a look at the rest of the movies that are on this list right now. So we've got Extraction at number 1, and that one apparently reached 99 million households. That's how they're creating this list here. Then it's Bird Box with 89 million, Spencer Confidential with 85, Six Underground with 83, Murder Mystery with 83. Then it's The Old Guard with a projected 72 million households. Then The Irishman with 64, Triple Frontier with 63, The Wrong Missy, I cannot believe that, 59, and then finally The Platform at 56. You guys know how excited I am about The Platform, but before we dig into that one, I found it interesting that The Wrong Missy made it on this list. I watched that movie. I had Lauren Lapkus on a Collider Ladies Night, and I think she is wonderful. And even though the movie wasn't for me, it's not my kind of comedy. I think it was a little too extreme for my taste, and her character is the most extreme part of the movie, but I think she delivered exactly what that movie called for. So I give her a huge round of applause, but that movie did not work for me at all. I'm very surprised to see it on the list, but I am also beyond thrilled to see The Platform at number 10. Like, yes, all the yeses. First off, it's one of very few horror genre movies on this list. I actually did like Bird Box quite a bit, so I'm glad to see that at number 2 still. But The Platform it's one of those types of horror movies. And, you know, I was just praising Relic for doing something very similar, where I think the horror genre offers great opportunity to dissect and explore very real, challenging human truths that might be difficult to wrap your brain around otherwise in new, fresh, and meaningful ways than if you had approached those topics in a straightforward manner. And that's kind of what The Platform does here. I think it's a genius concept with a whole slew of phenomenal performances. And when you look at what they managed to achieve with the production design of that movie, it really does blow my mind. I could talk about The Platform all day long. And if you're with me on that, do navigate over to collider.com, because if you've seen The Platform and you want like a very interesting spoiler conversation that I had with the director, there's a very interesting print interview over there that I highly recommend checking out. But, you know, going back to The Gray Man and how much they're spending on that, look at how many of these movies have like a big star, especially some stars associated with the MCU too, and they're action movies. They're action movies with famous actors. I mean, the data is here. If all this data is accurate, it would suggest that Netflix should greenlight more of these movies, and that's what they're doing. So I'm curious to see how things go with The Gray Man. Before we get to my next topic here, I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to save some time for some chat questions. So start thinking about what you want to ask. Drop it in the comment section, and I'm going to get to as many of them as possible. But right now, we got to prioritize a super chat from Ed. Ed, thank you so much for all your support as always. All right. Sorry if this has been covered, but are you at all excited about Comic-Con at home, even knowing that many of the panels were pre-recorded? I can't not be honest with you guys. The excitement level for Comic-Con at home compared to traditional San Diego Comic-Con is entirely different. I am excited just because, I mean, I love conducting interviews and I like watching interviews. And if this is going to give me the opportunity to watch interviews for some of the most highly anticipated projects participating in Comic-Con at home, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna look forward to it. But the other cool thing to me about Comic-Con at home is that the panels are going to be more accessible than ever. So whereas you might have to wait in line to see one Hall H panel all damn day, now all of a sudden you got all this free time to discover so many other conversations, because there were, I know the high priority things that I would always have to cover at a Comic-Con, but there were so many other things that I wanted to explore also. You know, different movie and TV titles. There's also a lot of great creator panels out there that I would have liked time to explore more. So maybe this format will give me the opportunity to do just that. But you know, one of the big draws of San Diego Comic-Con to me has always been, since the very beginning of me attending it, the opportunity to see people from all across the country, if not the world, that I really only get to see once or twice a year at pretty much San Diego Comic-Con and New York Comic-Con. And the fact that I don't have that this year is very, very upsetting. But you guys know me. I'm always trying to find the silver lining, the bright spot. And there's a lot of positivity in what Comic-Con is doing this year with Comic-Con at home. And I'm looking forward to digging into some of these panels. But shameless self-promotion here, I am very excited about the fact that I got to host one. I was looking at my Instagram earlier, and the on this day thing for me was when I got to host the Cobra Kai panel last year. And that seriously is one of my proudest moments of my career, period. I mean, I got to stand on the stage of Ballroom 20 and moderate a panel for one of my favorite new shows out there. And it was such an honor and a joy. And that cast and crew were just so wonderful. I couldn't have asked for a better experience with that. But this year I am hosting the panel for a Quibi show. And I know the situation that Quibi is in, and I know not many of you are subscribed, and you're probably not going to watch their content, but it really was a great honor to be able to host the panel for their new series that's directed by Catherine Hardwicke. It's called Don't Look Deeper. I have seen it because I hosted the panel and I liked it. And you know, I know being a Quibi right now poses a pretty significant challenge as far as getting eyeballs on your product, but again, I highly recommend checking that one out if you have Quibi and have the opportunity. So I'm looking forward to that big time. All right, scrolling on down. Let's bring up a couple more chat comments before I keep this going. All right, let's get the lay of the land here. Christy says, I deleted Quibi after my free trial. Liked a few things, but not enough to keep it for now. I mean, you know, I understand it. I totally get it. It dropped at the worst possible time. And I feel like the large majority of Quibi content is actually at a certain level of quality, if not above. But I think part of the problem with Quibi is none of the content that they've released thus far has been must-watch type of content. Like, the example that I immediately go back to, and I know that they had some popular stuff before this happened, but it's like Quibi needs the Stranger Things of Netflix, you know, like what Stranger Things created for Netflix, where you absolutely had to have Netflix so you could catch up and not get spoiled on this super hot show. Quibi needs that, and I don't know how to get that for them. I can't figure out the code, because I think they do have some really interesting stories and good content, but I do wonder if the ship has sailed as far as just like what it is, and it reaching a certain size of a subscriber base there. So I don't know what's going on. I'm curious to see how much longer Quibi lasts, but I'm also, I'm going to say it again. Keep an eye out for Don't Look Deeper. And if you have access to it, I highly recommend checking it out. All right. I have one more topic that I wanted to talk about today before I take more live chat questions. And it is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier not being on Disney Plus's announcement list for new titles coming in August. I mean, obviously, it's not that I'm surprised by this whatsoever, but I do bring it up because, one, it's a hot title. And also, when I was catching up on my news, of course, over on Collider.com, I believe Matt Goldberg had wrote the article about this one. And he pointed out something that I feel like I haven't discussed all that much. And it's the fact that a series like Marvel is in an even tougher spot when it comes to snapping back from the pandemic and the release date changes and also the production challenges, because they are a film franchise, and they're a film franchise that's so heavily reliant on all of their properties being told in a certain order. It's like, on the one hand, let me think here. Okay, so let's take Halloween Kills, for example. That's one thing where it's like, Halloween Kills gets delayed a year, and then we know Halloween Ends has to be pushed back to after that. You're only dealing with a 3-film franchise here. With the MCU, you've got multiple releases in a single calendar year, just as far as feature films go. And then on top of that, you got to factor in these Disney Plus shows that are all contributing to the same narrative. It's just, I wonder what's going to happen. So I did pull this from Matt's article. So thank you for this information, Matt. He had laid out what was supposed to happen. We were supposed to get Black Widow in May, Falcon and Winter Soldier in August, then Eternals in November, and then WandaVision in December. And there's already been comments about how WandaVision is going to factor into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. But the point being is that this was the order the story was supposed to be told in. So it's like, even if they are able to start shooting on Falcon and the Winter Soldier again soon, if Black Widow can't hit theaters, can we even get Falcon and Winter Soldier? I don't know. I have no good answer to this, but I really do think it's a good thing to have in the back of your mind if you're trying to track what could happen with the MCU release strategy going forward. It's a very challenging situation, and it is for everybody. I don't want to make it seem like it's only a Disney problem right now, but there's going to be some interesting moves, I think, on this playing field for months and months, if not years to come. So I'm curious to see what happens, but I'm going to bring in a chat question here because this is Marvel related. J. Scott for real. How are you doing, my friend? It's nice to see your name in here. Meanwhile, New Mutants has been gestating for more than 2 years after its original release date. And of course, we do know that they just released a new teaser trailer, I guess. It didn't feel like a lot of new footage to me, or I take that back. I don't know, because I haven't rewatched the previous trailers recently enough. I don't know if it's new footage, but something about the trailer didn't up my excitement for it anymore. And some of you know I have been very much behind New Mutants despite all of the concerns and all of the delays and everything. But, there's a Comic-Con at home panel that I'm very much looking forward to seeing. And I just want to see that movie already. I can't freaking wait anymore. I'll never stop wanting to see the movie, but the delays are just getting absolutely ridiculous. Just release the thing on Hulu or Disney Plus already, please. But I'm still rooting for that one, and I will root for that one until the day it is finally released. So I'm going to see it. I'm going to see it. I'm going to look forward to it, and I'm going to have faith too, because I believe in Josh Boone. All right, we got a super chat from Caleb, and with Caleb in super chat zone right now, this gives me a good opportunity to promote something going on over on the Patreon campaign right now, and I am going to pull up another email I got here. All right. So I've been working with Caleb, a member of the Patreon team, on this. I just launched a brand new tier of the campaign. This tier is only going to be available for 1 month, and it gives you the opportunity to join the Nemi Patreon Fantasy Football League. And I know things are super up in the air. There is no guarantee that fantasy football is going to happen as planned this season, but the tier is up. We are preparing for it. And if for whatever reason you sign up and it doesn't happen, do not worry. You do not lose any of your rewards. They will all be fulfilled. Maybe the fantasy football part will just be fulfilled at a later date, but you are 100% in the mix. Right now, we have Justin Christie, who just joined it. So Justin Christie snagged one of those spots. I think that means we only have 5 spots left. So if you want to get in on it, check it out. All the information is up on the Patreon page now, and there's a link to that in the description section of the video. And Caleb right here is the person responsible for helping me, because I've never been commissioner of a fantasy football league before, but he's giving me all the 101 and making sure that this league is set up as best as it possibly can be. So thank you again for that, Caleb. All right. What else do we got here today? I am scrolling through. I see so much love for Eurovision here. I was wondering if Eurovision was going to crack that list, but clearly it didn't. We got Austin. Austin loves Fire Saga so much. So do I. I think we had a Yaya Ding Dong here too. You know, they released, what is it, like a 10-hour stretch of Yaya Ding Dong on one of the official Netflix YouTube accounts. And while it sounds absolutely absurd, I think it is kind of genius. And I actually could listen to Yaya Ding Dong all day long. All right. We got a couple minutes left. Put in those questions, and I'll hit as many of them as I possibly can. Damn right, Christy. Play Yaya Ding Dong all day long. As for Ed's question here, did they ever start filming the Loki show? I can't remember what the last update was on that, but let me see if I can find you an answer. All right. I mean, the most recent headline I'm seeing on that show is from CBR.com. Loki showrunner says the Disney Plus Marvel series is a sci-fi show. Okay. I don't know what that means for the state of the show, but that is the most recent thing circulating on that. All right. No Eurovision. I blame the elves. No, that's very, very understandable there. Is anybody watching The Alienist tomorrow night? So I had the opportunity to do a Collider Connected interview with Dakota Fanning for the debut of Alienist, Angel of Darkness. It's very frustrating with that name because The Alienist started on TNT as a limited series, so we were supposed to just get one series, and now technically it's not The Alienist Season 2, it's The Alienist Angel of Darkness. I gotta be able to pull that title quicker, but that episode of Collider Connected is going to drop tomorrow on the Collider video YouTube channel, so I highly recommend checking it out. I didn't finish the whole show, but I did binge season 1 of The Alienist, or most of it. I didn't get to the end, to be honest, just because timing was not on my side. But, you know, I was kind of into it. I like that period. I like that production and costume design. I found it a little slow going at the beginning. The mystery didn't hook me quite as much as I would have hoped. But I will say, before I say anything, let me make sure that there's some reviews out there. The Alienist Angel of Darkness review. I probably should have looked up the review embargo. Yeah, I see some reviews out there. All right, I will just lightly tell you guys then. I wasn't super into The Alienist the first season. I found it a little like too dark and dreary, and that didn't work. Even though I think that's appropriate for the type of atmosphere they're trying to create, that didn't really work for me because the mystery added no urgency to the show. So I wasn't totally feeling it. But then I jumped to some of Angel of Darkness to prepare for this new interview. And I will say, I think that vibe suited me a little more. And this is probably because I was so focused on Dakota Fanning's character for the interview, but I really like what Sarah Howard is up to in Angel of Darkness. her arc just got, like a little brighter and a little more interesting to me. And I just love the idea of what that character is up to in Angel of Darkness. So I am planning to continue with that when I finish catching up on another Netflix show that I have to binge an entire season of before Monday for an interview. It's very, very cool though. And I have a feeling you're going to be excited about that one. And also for an upcoming episode of Collider Ladies Night, I'm finally going to binge all of Snowpiercer, which I meant to have started way earlier, but I never got the chance to. But now I have a reason why I have to. So that's another thing. And also, I already got this binge done, but it's for an upcoming interview. I'm not going to say anything until it's in the can because I don't want to jinx anything. But if anybody out there still hasn't watched Stateless, please get on that. All 6 episodes are on Netflix. And I binged it a while back when I got my screeners, but then my parents were watching it. So I watched a lot of it again with them. And it's so good. It's so good. Please watch Stateless, guys. All right, let's hit the super chats. Chris McGovern is saying, good morning, Miss Perri. Good morning to you as well, Chris. I hope you are having a good Saturday so far. We also have Ian Wilder in the house. All right. I recently read the screenplay for Get Out with a lot of production notes from Peele and rewatched it last night. It's one of the best made horror movies. Plus, I think it redefined Black horror. Ian, I think that movie, really, you guys know how I feel about Us and Get Out, but I think I would have to apply the word masterpiece, really. I know it's a big term, but I think I have to apply it to both films. I think they're so expertly crafted, and I really would love to read that screenplay with Peele's notes in it. So I don't know, maybe I'll track that down as well. I know I have so one of the cool things about award season, and I actually don't know what the fate of these types of things is going to be in the future, but I'm not like fooling anyone here. Everybody knows that during award season, all the distributors send voters that are part of certain organizations a whole bunch of stuff, like I have a Roma pillow for no reason at all. But one of my absolute favorite things to get in the mail are scripts, like physical scripts that I can hold in my hand. It's just, I don't know. I love the process of seeing a movie in its finished form and then going back and feeling what it felt like to read the original screenplay. In particular, when it comes to stuff like one of the best experiences that I've ever had with that was with A Quiet Place. It's so fascinating to see that concept fully realized and then to go back and to strip it down to just the black and white print on a page. I almost think that process just amplified how good that screenplay was, and the whole movie for that matter. I saw a Dewey thing here. Who's talking about Dewey in the chat? All right, Rix. I'm curious if Dewey can do a dress haul video. I don't even know what we're talking about right now. I feel like I'm long overdue for a Dewey video though. There's a couple things that I want to do. So you guys know I stopped doing the movie crypto quote videos, and I was going to use that time to, make some vlogs and stuff. I failed at that last week, to be honest with you guys. I was underwater with work stuff, and I still am now to a degree, but the second I get out from under the binge watch pile, there's a couple of vlogs that I'm really eager to do. I haven't done a vlog in a while. I also have some Q&A videos to catch up on. So I got my work cut out for me right now, but I'm going to get it all done. And I'm going to have fun doing it. I really love editing those vlogs. As much as I love editing any video, period. I just really enjoy the process of editing and working with Premiere. But in particular, the creativity that comes with cutting one of those vlogs, I don't know, just freaking fills me with joy. What's up here, Ed? Rick Samoris wants to see Dewey in a tuxedo, maybe for the Oscars. So I don't have a cat tuxedo on hand, but if you're looking for a video where an image where Dewey is almost in a tuxedo, I do have the Downton Dewey image where he's got like a little bow tie on and a little hat, so he looks like he's from Downton Abbey. So I don't know. Let's see. Maybe I'll dress Dewey up soon. Actually, I was talking with Haley about this. If any of you have watched The Witching Hour, it feels like we're both predicting that even though both of us have the habit of starting Halloween way early, like super early, even before October, because of the state of the world, we're all going to need those Halloween vibes even earlier. So maybe I'll like start the Dewey costume thing a little earlier, and I'll try to dress him up as more things. I feel like I need that kind of stuff to occupy myself right now. We have another request from Ed here. Do another review with your mom, please. I was really thinking about that. I was thinking about that very recently too. I don't know if I'm going to do this idea in particular, but the reason why I wanted to do another movie review with my mom is because you guys know how strongly I feel about the movie Relic. I really, really love Relic, and I loved it even more the second time around. It's, I brought it up already. It is one of those movies that gets at a very difficult to process human truth and a very real affliction many have been hit by, whether it's directly or what it does to you by experiencing somebody else going through it. But I was very excited to show that movie to my mom. My mom didn't like it. And I think she didn't like it. I don't mean to speak for her, but just to give you guys a sense of what I think happened here. She compared it to Hereditary. So I think it's one of those movies that it wasn't necessarily a bad movie, but it went to such a dark place that it upset her. So I did want to bring her on the channel and maybe discuss that a little further, but I think I'm going to wait for a different movie that she's a little more excited about. So yeah, that's where we stand in our movie watching. Oh my God, there's so many people and so many chats. I want to get to everything here, but you know what I have to do? I gotta go work out. It's Saturday and I can't slack on my working out. And the new things that I'm doing here, because I know some of you guys love these workout updates. Evan in particular, I don't know if Evan's awake yet, but I finally started physical therapy on my ankle. Some of you guys know I slipped while I was hiking back in February, and I had a microfracture in my knee, and I sprained my ankle. And like, microfracturing your knee sounds way more serious than spraining your ankle. So I think I was so focused on that I kind of neglected the ankle. And even after staying off of it for the recommended period of time, when I got back to things like running, my ankle would keep swelling up. And, I finally got it looked at, and they finally sent me to physical therapy. And apparently there's I think it's a ligament or something. There's when I first started the program, they move your ankle in all these directions and they touch a whole bunch of things, and everything felt fine except one spot. So she's like, that ligament's no good. So I'm working on that. But also I've had to completely change my workout routine because the gym that I belong to in LA, they were doing Zoom classes, and they're still doing Zoom classes. But part of the problem is, I don't know if this is okay for them to be doing, but gyms have been shut down. So they've moved all their classes outside. And for whatever reason, that means they can't do it at the time that was working for me. They've moved it a half hour later. And that means that I will be late for work if I do that class. So I've paused my membership for a little while, and I'm trying this new thing called Obey. It's obe.com. And what it is it's on-demand classes. They have live classes as well, but it's on-demand classes that, if I feel like, doing a class at, let's say, 1:00 Eastern today, I just go on their website and I queue up whatever I'm in the mood for. Strength training, a HIIT class, a 10-minute express workout, a 45-minute full body workout. And it's been pretty good. I'm not fully into it where I'm going to be singing its praises and endorsing it like crazy, but I've done a couple classes and I think this could be the fix that I need. So that's what I'm off to go do now. So guys, I'm going to say another big thank you to everybody who is here and who's just hanging out with me and talking about movies, because you guys know these videos, I don't know, they fill my life with so much joy. And I'm so happy to have you guys and have this community that we can just, I don't know, sit here and just celebrate and casually chat about all the movie news that we're excited about. So You guys have a good day. Stay safe. And keep an eye out for, what can I tease for you? All right, I got a good one. Keep an eye out for a new movie review coming to the channel next week. We're going to talk about The Rental. Have a good weekend.